green marble crochet tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make the Crochet Scraps Gypsy skirt design that I've been working on recently. I'm very happy with this one. It's a really simple construction. It's just, the panels take a while to make, so I would estimate that the time frame for making something like this, if you were doing it at a nice relaxed pace, would be about a week. So you could definitely come up with this in about a week and be very happy with what you've got. There are a couple of things that I need to mention before we get started, and that is that for this particular tutorial, for this particular design, it's being done with the bust measurement that's quite small, because obviously I've got that quite a small bust measurement, but if you had a larger bust measurement, this design, particularly for the tutorial that I'm doing, might not work for you. But there is a solution. So what I've done is, for this tutorial, I joined the original chain for the waistband, and we've done double crochets going around, but there's no join at the side, so basically it's just one continuous thing, and then you crochet the panels off that. You'll see as we get into it how it goes. But the solution for if you've got the wider bust, because if you did that and your bust measurement was larger, it won't fit on over that. So the solution that I've thought of, and I might do it in a later tutorial just so that this kind of design is more accessible to everyone. What you would do is, don't join the original chain. Just once you've chained the length that you need to chain for your waist, you're going to chain up 2 double crochets across that chain, back in the other direction. From that, chain up 2 double crochet, turn, double crochets back in the other direction, until you've got the waistband at a width that you like. So with that, what you're still doing is you're still crocheting the panels off the waistband, and you'll still be joining them as normal. But what you would do instead is, because you haven't joined the waistband, you can also leave a little gap at the top of the panels that fall beneath the join of the waistband, where you're going to have to join it. So what you would do is you would make like a little sort of lace up drawstring type thing, and you can weave it through the side of the waistband and a little bit down into the 2 panels that fall beneath that. And that's the way you would, the solution that I've come up with, the way you would sort of work around that for a larger bust measurement. Yes, there's that. That's it. Like I said, I'll probably do something in the future to, you know, work with all bust measurements. Yes, we can do that. Alright, that's it. That's all I need to say. Stop going on now. We can just get straight into making it. However, if you haven't subscribed but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. A big thank you to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. If you need to get in contact with me for anything, or if you need my help, please have a look at the description below for all my relevant links to places that you can find me. Alright, I think that's it. Let's just get straight into making this. Alright, now then, to begin, we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details on the labels of the yarns that we're using. So for this one, I'm using 2 different yarns. This one, which is slightly chunkier than this particular one, I'm using this one in 4 different colors. But for this one, this is what I'm going to be using for the waistband and 4 of the panels, and the rest of the panels are just going to be this. This one's slightly chunkier than this one, but it's really not much of a difference. It's very similar ply. So I just wanted to let you know that. Aside from that, we can just look at the tiny details. So for this Mondial, which is my favorite yarn, we're using, well, this is it, Brillantina. I've used this many times in tutorials. It's my favorite. I love it. Alright, if you need more time to look at anything, just pause the video. Just say that quickly. So for this one, the tiny details, which are right here, it's telling me I should be using a 3 to a 4mm hook, which is good because I am using my 3. And I'm pretty sure that on this label, which we'll just take out of here carefully, yes, for this one, I'm pretty sure it's the same. I'll need a, yes, so this is the, again, just pause the video if you need more time to look at anything. But for the tiny details, it is telling me that I should be using a 3. So that's really good. Works out well. So yes, no, yes, all right. All right, no, I was gonna actually measure out and cut the 20 grams of each color, but I'm not gonna do that because it would just be a waste of yarn at this point. So these are actually quite new, these skeins, but I've obviously used this one a couple of times for different tutorials, and this is a brand new one. All right, we can just begin. And since we're starting with the waistband, which is this one, we'll shove everything aside like this. We will find the end of our yarn. I'm going to start with some nice fresh stuff for the waistband. All right, so to begin, what we're going to do is we're going to take the end of our yarn and we're going to make a slip knot. Now to make a slip knot, what you've got to do is you've got to focus the camera and you take the end of your yarn between your thumb and your index finger of your right hand. With the index finger and the middle finger of your left hand, you're going to put the yarn behind like this, wind around, grab hold, pull through. So there we go, we made a slip knot. Now what we're going to do is adjust our knot to the hook. So you're going to shove your hook through just like this, grab the working end, pull tight. So there we go. Now, for the specific measurements of this, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be chaining a length of 120. So to make a chain stitch is yarn over, pull through. So that's one chain. Let's get a bit closer and do it again. Yarn over, pull through. That's another chain. Yarn over, pull through. So that's another chain. So there I've got 3 chains and I'm going to be chaining 120. All right, now here I am and I've chained my length of 120. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to very carefully, making sure not to get the chain twisted, I'm going to work my way back to the beginning of this chain. Just like this, turn the chain around, upside down, very carefully, turn it in a clockwise direction. You're going to insert your hook into the first chain, so the top part of that first chain. See just there's a V of the chain, just like so. You're going to put your hook into the top part of that, and just like this. If it's a little tight, persevere, you will eventually get it through. Just like that, and there we go. You're going to pick up that working end of the yarn again. Hold on a second, I've got this twisted. Okay, let's do that again quickly. Alright, so here we are. Getting through just there. Alright, now grabbing that part, yarn over, and you're going to pull the loop through that chain, and then pull that loop through your last chain on your hook, just like this. So we've slip stitched to close the round. I need some water, my mouth is very dry. That's what happens when you talk too much. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, straight from here, we're going to move on to round 1, and we're going to chain up 2, so 1, 2, and we're going to be putting double crochets into each chain around. So to do that, what you do is you yarn over, you're going to go into that first chain, so we're going to be going into the first one that we just slip stitched into as well. So right beneath that chain of 2, you're going to go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your first double crochet, then just moving into the next chain along, so that one just there. You're going to go in with another, okay, so that's it. You're just putting double crochets into every chain all the way around. When you get to the end, we're going to meet back up. We'll move on to the next round together, and then from there, we'll talk about it at that point. All right, see you soon. Okay, so here we are at the end of the round with 120 double crochets into each of those chains. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look for the stitch at the top of that chain of 2 from the beginning. So the first stitch just there. The first stitch just there, we're going to insert our hook through that stitch, just like so. Yarn over, pull through a loop, pull that loop through your last stitch to close the round. So there we go, that's round 1. Now, for this waistband, I'm doing 10 rounds, just going in the same direction. Normally what I do is I chain up 2 and I turn the work and I go back in the other direction. And I do that just because I like to keep the seam from drifting to the sides. But for this skirt, it really doesn't matter. It looks just fine without having to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain up 2, 1 and 2. I'm going to put double crochets going in the same direction all the way around. And my first stitch is always going to be into that same stitch that you slip stitched into. So the very first stitch just there beneath the chain of 2. So yarn over, you're going to go in just like that. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that's your first stitch. You've just got the same stitch count all the way around for the next 9 rounds if you're going to do 10 rounds for your waistband. So that's what we're doing, and that's it. Once you get to the end of this round, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain, or the stitch at the top of the chain 2 from the beginning to close the round, chain up 2, continue on as such. So once we've done all of our 10 rounds, we're going to meet back up. Don't cut the yarn, don't tie off. We're going to be doing the first panel straight from our last stitch of the waistband. So I will see you at that point and we'll do it together. All right, see you soon. All right, now that I've completed 10 rounds, what we're going to do now is we're going to start work on the first panel. So to do that, we're working straight from the last slip stitch that we did from the previous round. We're going to chain up 2, and we're going to work 10 double crochets across. So starting another round as normal, but only into 10 spaces. And for the 10th one, we're going to meet back up. We're going to be putting 2 double crochets into that place. So let's do 10 double crochets across. Alright, so here I am with those 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and into that 10th space again we're going to put another double crochet. So basically it's going to be 10 stitches for the initial part of the, can't talk properly, you're working with 10 stitches for the beginning of each panel, and we're going to be increasing by 1 stitch per row. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, we're going to turn the work, and this is where we chain up 2 and turn because we have to from now on. So we're chaining up 2, we're turning, you're going to yarn over, you're going to put your first stitch into that first stitch there. You're going to work a stitch into every stitch along, but for the last one, it's going to be 2 again. So for the previous row, you had 11 stitches. For this row, you're going to have 12, including the second one into that last stitch. So that's what we're doing, that's how we're doing it, and that's how you're increasing each panel. So for me I'm going to be increasing to either 40 or 45 stitches. Not quite sure at this point. I will meet back up with you obviously and let you know what I've done. Yeah, that's it. So like I said, count as you go along, or frequently check back in with yourself to make sure that you've got the right amount of stitches for the row that you're on. So you can see here, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got the 11th stitch right at the end here. You're going to go into there. Okay, so a good way to know, well, to make sure you're getting into that last stitch, because you're working into the unbraided side of the stitch. So as you can see here is the braided side, which is what we were working with for the waistband. You're working into the braided side. But because you're chaining up 2 and turning, you're working into the unbraided side. Now, for the braided side, the part that you're working into relevant to the body of the stitch falls to the top right-hand side of the body of that stitch. But when you're working into the unbraided side, which is what we're working into here, you can see here's the body of the stitch that you're working with. That's the 11th one along. It falls to the top left-hand side of that stitch. So that's just a good way to, make sure you're getting into every stitch, I find, Anyway, so like I said, into that stitch, it's going to be 2 double crochets into the same stitch, bringing us to 12 stitches. So now, once again, you're going to chain up 2 and you're going to turn, and working 1 into every stitch till you get to the last one where there'll be 2 again. And so for this row there's going to be 13 stitches. So yes, once I've increased my panel to a width that I'm happy with, we're going to meet back up. We're going to see how it looks. And we're going to talk about what our next step is going to be. Alright, see you soon. Alrighty, now that I've done 32 rows and I'm at a stitch count of 42, I'm going to stop increasing now and I'm going to get working on the next panel. So to do that, what we're going to do is chain 1 straight from that last stitch. We're going to find our scissors and cut the yarn and pull that chain through just like this. Pull tight to tie off. Now, what we're going to do is making sure you're working from the same side that you did when you chained up and, you know, the right side. So basically it's going to be the right side of the work. So this, I think that's this side. No, I was wrong. It was the other side. So working from this side. Where are we? There we are. So what we're going to do is you're going to insert your hook through the next stitch along on the waistband. So that one just there, you're going to go in. You're going to find the next color that you're working with. So I'm going to work with the green. I haven't used this one before, and I'm looking forward to it. And so you're going to unravel yourself a little bit. Finding the end of your yarn, you're going to make a little slip knot, and just like this. And adjusting that knot to the hook, you're going to pull it through and pull tight. There we go. But don't pull too tight because you don't want that little knot to show through on the outside. So sort of make sure the slip knot's a little bit loose so that it sort of wraps around that stitch. And there we go, there we go. All right. So now what you're going to do is you're going to chain up 2, so 1 and 2. Alright, and now that you've chained up 2, you're going to, including the stitch you just slip stitched into, put your slip knot into in the chain of 2, so that was same one just there. Let's get closer. You're going to put your first double crochet into that, and you're going to be putting 10 double crochets across. And I'm going to crochet this loose end in as I go along, just so I don't have to weave it in later. So 1 and 2. So yeah, 10 across, and for the 10th stitch you're going to once again put 2 stitches into the same stitch, and from there you're just repeating the process of this one. So I'll do 32 rows with 2 stitches into every last stitch of each row, and that's how you're going to do the rest of the panels. So there's going to be 12 all up for me. If you have more, just do however many more you need. Obviously you'll be working in multiples of 10 because you're starting with a stitch count of 10 for each panel. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's it. I don't think I need to meet back up with you for the, well, you know, obviously for the rest. We just need to meet back up when it comes time to join the panels together and do some edging on the bottom. And then I think we're finished. Alright, well, we'll go away, we'll do that, we'll meet back up, and we'll do the joins and the edging together. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now then, I've crocheted in all the panels off the waistband, and I've actually joined most of them. I've just got one more join left to do. I'm going to angle the camera down so that it's easier to see. Now, what we need to do, we're working off the waistband to do the joins, and what we're going to be doing is, actually, we're going to do this join and then we're going to move on to the single crochet edging. So I'll show you that after. But what we're going to do to begin with, to start the join, you're actually going to be starting it in the last stitch off the waistband for the first row of this panel. So this stitch just here, that's where you're going to insert your hook first. And you're going to be single crochet joining that to the next stitch along, which is the first stitch for the first row of this panel, if that makes sense. Let's try and get a little bit closer, just so that you can see better what I'm doing. Alright, so like I said, we're going to be starting with that last stitch for this first panel, or for this panel just here. You're going to insert your hook through there. You're going to grab a fresh piece of yarn, just here, like this. You're going to grab your yarn, you're going to make a slip knot. So making a slip knot just like this. You're going to attach that to the hook and pull it through that stitch. Then you're going to pull tight, making sure all those loose ends are pushed to the side. You're going to pull tight just like that, and you're going to single crochet to the next stitch along, which is the first stitch of this, the first row of this panel. So you're going to go into that stitch, you're going to yarn over. I hope you can see this. Hang on a second. Yes, there we go. Yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, single crochet. And that just prevents there from being, oh, that's a little messy. We'll do that again. So that just prevents there from being sort of a gap at the top where the panels are joined. I find that you need to do this instead of just doing the joins right on the panels. You need to do this first bit just here. So like I said, we're adjusting it, pulling it through, pulling it tight. Actually, don't pull it too tight though, because you want to make sure it's that sort of knobbly bit isn't coming through to the front. So just like this, go into the next stitch, single crochet. So just like that. There we go, that's better. So now what you're going to do is you're going to pull that loose, that loop just there. You're going to adjust it around your thumb on your left hand. You're going to insert your hook through the first part of the first double crochet row, just here. So that's just here like that. You're going to go around that part, readjust that loop and pull tight. Now you're going to pull that loop through that part of the row end, that first part just there. Then you're going to move to the other side, to the left hand panel. You're going to insert your hook through the first part of the first row end, double crochet row end just here. You're going to yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through two. So we single crocheted that first part together. Now you're going to pull that loop loose again and adjust it to your left hand thumb like so. Then you're going to stick your hook through the next part of that double crochet row end, which is just there. So you're going to insert your hook like that, readjust that loop, pull tight, pull that loop through that part of the row end, pick up the yarn again, and then stick your hook through the second part of the first double crochet row end on this side, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, single crochet. So you're just putting two single crochet joins into each double crochet row end, and so on. So we're going to move to the next row end along just here. We've sort of adjusted that loop to the thumb. You're going to go into the next row end just like this in that first part, pull tight, pull that loop through that part of the row end, move to the other side, go into the first part of the next, well, this double crochet row end, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, and so on. So into the next part of the row end, pull that loop through, single crochet to the next part of the row end on the other side, just like that. So what you're going to do is when you get to the last double crochet row and you put in your last single crochet join, you're just going to chain one, cut the yarn, pull that chain through to tie off. What I'm going to do now though is just show you how I'm going to be doing the single crochet edging. It's really, really easy. So basically once you've done all that, once the joins are all joined, you can go into any stitch you want of the skirt, of the bottom of the skirt. You're making a fresh slip knot, picking up the bottom of the skirt, just go into a stitch. Make sure the right side of the work is facing you, because that way, hang on, go into any stitch, let's just go up a little. So making sure the right side of the work is facing you so you get that nice sort of braided edging down the bottom. So you're going to go into just any stitch along here, and let's focus. Any stitch along, adjust that slip knot, pull it through the stitch, pull tight. And what you're going to do is you're going to chain up one, so chaining up one, and your first single crochet is going to be into that same stitch as the chain of one. So you're going to go into there with one single crochet. That knobbly bit came through, but it's okay. Then you're just going to move into the next stitch along, single crochet, and then you're just putting single crochets in all the way along, just like this, until you get to the end of the round, which is going to be quite a large round, obviously. Also, when you're here, just sort of make sure you're putting, hang on, we'll crochet up to this part where it's joined, and I'll show you how we're going to deal with that. Alright, so here I am at the join. So we're going to put that final stitch just in there where we joined. Now we're going to be using the parts that have already been joined. So this part just here for that final single crochet join just here, you're going to single crochet into that. Then around the single crochet join, so just through that middle bit there, hang on, let's get a bit closer. So there you go. Now around this single crochet join, you're just going to go in there like that, pull up a loop, single crochet around that, move into this next part where the last single crochet join was, just like that, and then just move on to the next stitch along on the panel. So just like that. There you go. And as you can see, you've got that nice braided side facing you on the right side as opposed to the other side. I mean, it doesn't really matter, it's the choice is yours, but I just prefer that braided side to be facing the front. All right, so that's it. We're done. We've finished. This is how the skirt is going to be done. That's it. All we need to do now is finish up our skirts, weave in all ends, and then we're going to meet up. We're going to meet back up when we try on our skirts. We're going to go out into the courtyard. Can't talk properly. I need some water. Yes, we're going to go out into the courtyard. We're going to try on our skirts. We're going to see how they look. This skirt is really nice. I'm really proud of it. And there's a lot of things that I can do with it. I'm going to do some variations for the coming spring, or the rest of the spring and the coming summer. We're going to do a lot of tops and skirts this year because I feel like I haven't done that enough in the past. So, yes, that's what we're doing. All right. So I'll see you for when we try on our skirts. All right. See you soon. Alrighty, here is the finished skirt. Yes. So, yes, as you can see, we've got some measurements that we need to work with and possible restructuring if you're having trouble fitting that particular size of your bust area. But it's definitely something you can work with. And I am going to be incorporating that different element into the next skirt tutorial that I do. So yes, I mean, yes, and the panels are slightly time consuming, but I think well worth it. I really love this skirt. It's definitely something I'll be wearing out in public a lot this summer because it's very lightweight as well, which I love. Anyway, yes, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you've made yourself a lovely skirt. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.